The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Friday, and boy, what a week we're having, huh?
Well, I'm glad to see you could make it today.
Well, sorry, everybody. I would have loved to have been here on Wednesday, but we had an extremely long retirement board meeting. We had to deal with some retirement issues, and they all came armed with their lawyers and
lawyers! Oh no, lawyers!
And you know lawyers, they got to at least get an hour or two for billable hours. They're not just going to go in and say, hey, I'm representing him and he should get, no, it's like they need to drag it out for billable hours. That's the way lawyers are. But yeah, so exciting week this week watching the final death knoll of the Republic, because we always talk about everything's being politically motivated, and what's happening in Washington today is the most obscene and ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And for theoretically, for both sides, I don't care who you believe or who you don't believe. I mean, if this stuff is so blatantly partisan that, look, going back to high school yearbooks and everything else, and
oh please, Sheldon Whitehouse looked like such an idiot when he was talking about that.
Yeah.
What sexual act is a boofer?
Boofer. Okay. Well, I guess he's never hung around Rhode Island a lot, because I know there are a lot of Portuguese people around, and all Portuguese people know what boofers are. Yeah. Right. So, and mostly the rest of the population does. But did you notice, again, this is how media spins things all the time. And you can tell who the media is in a tank for. I noticed when they covered it on the Providence stations, nobody mentioned how dumb Whitehouse looked during his questioning. And actually, they did say it on Fox, but of course Fox is biased. But I have to agree with Fox then, because I watch the both. I like to watch the different. Yeah. You'll watch MSNBC or CNN, and you watch Fox, and then you have the tale of two cities, because, But the bottom line is, this shows, everything that's wrong with America now. When America was started, it was started by people who escaped religious persecution, and they were united to create a country that wasn't basically political. It was supposed to be representative of the people. You don't even have to know what party they're on before they speak. But as soon as they open their mouth and they begin to speak, you know exactly what party they're from.
Yes,
and the facts are irrelevant, and they're going to start. We need an FBI investigation, no matter how many times.
But the problem with that is they've already had 6 FBI investigations of this guy.
And even though they've been told 6,000 times yesterday when I was watching that thing, getting nauseous, how many times do they have to be told that the FBI does not come to a conclusion?
Exactly.
All they do is say, he said, she said, this is what we gathered, this is the information we gathered. And this guy's been vetted, what, 6 times already? Yeah. And look, whether you agree or disagree, this shows how badly this country has said, to hell with the people, all we're going to do is play politics. And this was the most egregious example of politicking in my life. And then you see the dual standard. You see the dual standard. It's ridiculous, because, there's no consideration for the people. And besides, the Supreme Court's supposed to be a neutral body. But they've made this into it's a fiasco.
It's a political crap show.
Yeah,
I'll tell you. Let's look at some things which are basically factual on the surface, because I don't care about all of this he said, she said stuff. But one of the Democrats said very clearly, if you can lie in one thing, you can lie in everything. And that's a statement that's given to the juries. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that was
said
Blumenthal.
It in Latin, though, because
yeah, they said it in Latin. And that was Blumenthal, I think, who said that.
They said it in Latin. But,
and here's the thing. She turned around and she said, I didn't know that the Senate said they would come to California. Everybody knew. So unless she lives in a cave under a rock, if she turned on the news, if she picked up a newspaper, she would. If she went on the internet, she would have seen that they said, we will come to you. She said she had no idea.
And so she doesn't fly either, remember that.
And she said she doesn't fly because she's afraid to fly, but she's on the planes to San Francisco, she's on the planes to Delaware, to BWI, which is Washington.
Did she go to Tahiti or Fiji?
I don't know.
So that's a hell of a long flight. She went on vacation, so I guess she can fly when she wants. But that's not the thing.
No, but those are some of the things that you got to look at. And again, if you're going to use the Democrats' position, then she lied in one thing, she lied in everything. Now you look at Kavanaugh's side. He has detailed journals going back to when he was in high school. He's been keeping them ever since. His father kept them since 1972. They keep detailed journals. You think he made that journal up overnight? That's a detailed journal.
I bet you if I was a Democratic senator, I'd say that. He made it up last night.
Well, they did. They basically
I know. That's what I'm saying. You know, if you're a Democrat, they make... And what disturbs me, though, is, you know, maybe it's... I'm basically black and white. There's very rarely anything with a gray area.
Right.
And political correctness has a giant gray area. Certain people are exempt from being politically correct. That Hirano, the senator from Hawaii, actually said during the hearing, all women should be believed and all men should just shut up.
Yep.
So if you said that, you would be sexist. You know, if anybody else said that, now you got a sitting United States senator basically saying that every male on this planet should shut up because we're all liars.
Exactly.
But that's not sexist. Nobody's going to take her to task for that.
No.
Because she, you know, she's defending it. And then the other guy, Booker, talking about stuff. Wasn't he accused of groping at one time? Didn't he falsify his military experience too? And he calls the other guy evil. Right. And I think he got accused of groping somebody too. And whether he's guilty or not guilty, they don't care. Politicians don't care. And Sheldon, like I said, Sheldon made a fool out of himself. But you think the media, the anti-Trump media is going to, you know, Channel 10, Channel 12, none of the Providence stations basically ran that clip where, and I was watching it live.
So was I.
When he made that statement. I mean, he looked like a buffoon. An absolute buffoon. And I know that she didn't
Not
know,
a buffa, a buffoon.
And I also know that she has a PhD, and somebody asked me a question when she said she didn't understand the word unequivocal. What she said, I don't know that word. How can you get a PhD and not know what that means?
She's a statistician as well.
Yeah, and she's a statistician. But, you know, the thing is that this is a circus, and it shouldn't be a circus.
No. And,
it shouldn't have been a circus. And Feinstein was on this morning talking about how she suppressed all that information because she wanted that she wouldn't at first sign it. And then they talked her into signing the complaint. It was an anonymous, and the FBI wouldn't investigate. And you know how many times you tell these people, the FBI. Now the guy, the guy that signed, supposed to be the only witness,
right,
that sent in an affidavit fundamentally from his attorney, signed by him, and they said it wasn't signed, but it was signed, under penalty of perjury. Under penalty of perjury, and they're still saying they want to question him. Well, he's already, and you can't do anything to him. Because, right, you know, and the FBI isn't going to prosecute him. So he's already said what he had to say and said, I don't know anything about it. You know, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've got I battled cancer, and I don't like to be out in public. And he said, this is my statement signed under penalty of felony perjury.
Right.
So, I mean, look, if this isn't the most blatant political bunch of trash you've ever seen on both sides of the aisle, you know, when you look at this, you know, you can realize how bad this country is now and how and why it's getting the way it is, because politicians don't care. These people have been in the Senate forever. That woman from Hawaii, Irana, she'll get reelected. She's sexist.
Right.
But it's okay for her to be sexist, but it's not okay for you or I to be sexist. It's just like, let's look at the differences. The people who are the most sensitive to being prejudiced or discriminated against, they can use those terms freely. She can call all men liars fundamentally and not be called sexist. Bill Cosby gets convicted with a preponderance of evidence that he did it. No doubt. And what does his lawyer say? Because he doesn't have any proof that he didn't do it and couldn't get him off. Soon as he got out, this is the most racist, sexist trial I've ever been a part of. He gets to play the race card. If he was not black, what would his lawyer say? But they play those. And if we ever tried that, we are being politically incorrect, and you lose your job, your life is ended when somebody makes an accusation. I'm all for all the investigations, but this investigation's not going to go anywhere. And they know it. And one of the Democrats, only one told the truth. They want to wait till the Democrats control the appointing process so they can appoint one of their own, somebody who has liberal leanings. Even though that's not what the Supreme Court's supposed to be, they're supposed to rule on the rule of law, and they're supposed to be unbiased, but they're not. You know, this is a national disgrace. I can imagine people in other countries looking at these bozos. You know, it's like a tale of two cities. It's like you look at one, I mean, they're going to canonize her as a saint, and they're going to vilify him. Booker called him evil. And the other side, Kavanaugh's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But, you know, who knows? All I know is one thing. He's been vetted, I don't know, 6 times. When he got his federal judgeship, he's been investigated. When he worked in a White House, he was investigated. You're going to tell me, you know, and the other thing is that disturbs me is they're saying this guy's fundamentally a serial sex abuser. Most of the time, anybody who knows anything about these people, they never outgrow that. Pedophiles can't be cured. Normally, serial rapists can't be cured. They'll rape for their entire life. They've got letters from 65 women who he worked with saying he's never behaved that way. But they're using this, and, you know, I sympathize with both of them. His family's destroyed now and distraught. They made a man who got into Yale University, then got into Yale Law, graduated at the top of his class. You know, and they're making him look like, I don't know, Bill Cosby?
They actually used the Cosby statement. They said, what, he's a Cosby, it was Lindsey Graham who said it. He was a Cosby.
What was his name on a TV show? He used Huxtable, I think. Yeah. Huxtable. He played somebody Huxtable or something. But
Cliff Huxtable. But,
you know, but the problem is Kavanaugh can't play, he can't play, this is a racist, sexist.
Right.
You know, because they can be that against him. And they, you know, Cosby could use that card. Kavanaugh's up to his own devices. He has to, because unfortunately, he doesn't fit into any of those minority groups that he can complain that they're picking on him because of minority, but then use the same thing against other people and not be held accountable. That, I'll tell you, that senator from Hawaii, it really disturbed me when she fundamentally said every male on the planet is a liar. And every woman is telling the truth, and that's a lie. There's no everything. There's not 100% of everything. There are women that are full of crap, and there are men that are full of crap. And this is nothing more than a kangaroo court for political gain. It's got nothing to do with Kavanaugh. It's got to do with the Dems wanting to put their guy in, and the elephants wanting to put their guy in. Yep. And they will drag and destroy as many lives as they can. And then in 2 months, they'll all be in the Senate having a beer. They'll all go to the parties for their campaign contributors, and they'll all be playing. They'll all be playing. You know, You're My Pal in another month, and people's lives are going to be destroyed over this.
Right. Let's listen to Lindsey Graham and his little outrage.
Are you aware that at 9:23 on the night of July the 9th, the day you were nominated to the Supreme Court by President Trump, Senator Schumer said, 23 minutes after your nomination, I will oppose Judge Kavanaugh's nomination with everything I have. I have a bipartisan, and I hope a bipartisan majority will do the same. The stakes are simply too high for anything less. Well, if you weren't aware of it, you are now. Did you meet with Senator Dianne Feinstein on August 20th?
I did meet with Senator Feinstein.
Did you know that her staff had already recommended a lawyer to Dr. Ford?
I did not know that.
Did you know that her and her staff had this allegations for over 20 days?
I did not know that at the time.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said hello, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. Are you a gang rapist?
No.
I cannot imagine what you and your family have gone through. Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it. I hope the American people can see through this sham, that you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. God, I hate to say it, because these have been my friends. But
It's interesting. I mean, he referred to them as his friends.
Yeah. And not only that, you notice that Feinstein didn't say a word of rebuttal then, but today she had a rebuttal statement about why she kept the information, because she needed her spin doctors to give her something to say. She couldn't respond. All she did was look down at the podium when he was speaking, because she knows he was right. The fact is, it took her a day. That's like, I guess that's a Democratic trait. Teddy Kennedy showed up a day after he drowned somebody. He waited. He didn't go into the police then. He didn't report anything until the following day. To do what? Let the alcohol clear out of his system? Why didn't Feinstein read that rebuttal, say those words that she said this morning, right after Lindsey Graham got through accusing her and the Dems of doing that? Because she couldn't think of anything to say, and she needed them to put together a statement, so she waited till the next day. When somebody attacks you, people normally respond in kind. They're not going to take that lying down.
No.
If what she read today was the truth, she should have come right back at him yesterday. But no, they all had to put their heads together and figure out a way to try to diffuse the fact that they sat on this thing.
Not only that, but they also got to diffuse the fact that they were not good, that they actually said they want to wait until 2020 to put their guy in.
Yeah. And also the fact is that, they were very clear that they do not want this to go forward, and because of those facts. And the reality is that, it's pretty obvious when you don't respond. I mean, if somebody says, you say something to me that I disagree with, I'm going to come right back and tell you why that I disagree with you, and I'm going to defend my position. Feinstein didn't say a word. She was like a mummy when he made that statement. Why? Because what he said was factual. She did have that for 20 days.
Right.
What he said was factual. Now they had to come up with a spin. Now they got a great spin. Oh, well, at first she wasn't going to come forward. It was just an anonymous complaint. But they got her lawyer. So, I mean, this is all crap. And whether you believe her or not, You know, I don't know. I don't know anybody that was, I don't know a college freshman frat boy who doesn't do some dumb things, and I know, and high school kids who haven't done some dumb things. But the reality is, this guy's been vetted 6 times. You have a whole bunch of women saying he's always treated them the right way. You have to question it. Now, oh, she was so credible, she was so emotional. Yeah, well, she also said she doesn't fly and she's flown all over the world. She also didn't want to come forward at first. And, the motivation for this 3-ring circus that's become our government is all political. They want a liberal-leaning Supreme Court justice. And they will fight and try to get rid of everything, hoping they're going to win the 2020 election and get a president that's going to nominate one of their people. And that's not what it's supposed to be. Because when we started this country, it was we the people. It's supposed to be about we the people. The government was created to be technically nonpartisan. If you look at it, because it says this is a republic. We swear, we pledge allegiance to the republic, not to the democracy, to the republic. And a republic is a representative form of government. They're supposed to be representing our best interests. And they're not. And it's gotten to a point where it seems like we're done. The country's lost. They're not fighting about fixing the pharmaceutical drugs. They're not fighting about stuff that affects people. They're not concerned about the fact that the wage for an average working man in this country has virtually been stagnant for the last 20 years, 15 to 20 years, while their salaries and all corporations are making millions and millions of more dollars than they ever did. They don't address that. What do they want? Lindsey Graham power. And the Republicans want power. And it's about partisan power. They want to, and everything I see when I watch this, this is a power struggle because they've created their own monarchy. They are, in fact, the dukes and the duchesses that run this country. They're insulated from everything. They don't have to abide by the laws. They have their own set of laws. They get a pension and great health care, and the hell with the people. They fight over stuff like this. And it's not about fairness. It's not about equity. It's clear they want to appoint a judge to the Supreme Court that has the same political leanings that they do. And that's not what the Supreme Court was created for. And I vehemently disagree with lifetime appointments, because I feel that if you're appointed to the bench and you come up with a couple of opinions that are so out of whack because of your personal leanings, you've demonstrated to the people of the United States that you can't be neutral. And that's what a judge is supposed to be. They're not defense lawyers or prosecution lawyers when they become judges. They're supposed to be the arbiter. They're supposed to be the one place we can go for a fair interpretation of the problem and resolution. But no, this is an outrage, and people in other countries must be going, holy, Lindsey Graham, when he says it's the worst thing he's ever seen, remember how long Lindsey Graham's been in office. He's been a senator a very long time. He's seen a lot of disgraceful things that the Congress and the Senate has done, all at the expense of the people. And it's their fault. We keep electing these people, and now they're going to be a backlash. They're looking for the midterm elections. The Democrats, they're appealing to their demographic, and they're appealing to everything, and some of the questions are, they're ridiculous.
A lot of the questions that were asked of him were just absolutely useless.
I don't know how many times the Democrats have to be reminded that the FBI cannot do anything else. I mean, they're going to take more testimony, and the testimony is going to be fundamentally the same, and they don't draw any conclusions. The FBI is going to submit it back to them.
That's right.
So, I mean, the whole thing is
they asked, and you know, when Durbin kept asking, will you tell counsel for the White House to stop these hearings and to start an FBI investigation? Would you do that? And Kavanaugh said, I will do whatever this committee wants. How many times did he have to say whatever this committee wants?
No, but they
wanted him to say.
They want him to, because people don't. They're going to cast him in a negative light. No, he wouldn't ask. Well, it's not his job. It's their job.
Exactly.
Actually, they've said that I don't know how many times during the process that it's their job. And even Kavanaugh told them it's going to be. If you go to the FBI again, they're gonna just give you whatever investigation and testimony they got. And you're going to have to rule on it again. So what do you think you're going to find out? You know, the main person has already submitted something that's actually more damaging to him than anything that Senate committee can do. The fact is he signed a letter under penalties of perjury and felony.
Right.
What's the Senate going to do if he goes and says the same thing? They're going to try to bully and badger him into saying that I lied. So everybody, I guess the Hawaiian senator's right. All men lie. He has to be lying. He's a guy, right? He's a male. And all women have to be believed. And all men should shut up. But she's not sexist. That's not discrimination against males to make a blanket statement like that. Listen. There's nobody more that's a bigger pragmatist than me. And one thing I've learned with all the people I've dealt with throughout the country, throughout the world in the military, throughout the country, when I went to union conventions and met people from all over, the fact is 100% of the men are not liars and 100% of the women are not liars, and things have to be taken on a case-by-case basis. And I think one of the senators said that after the testimony, there's not enough evidence even to get a search warrant in this case, to even secure a search warrant. But they're gonna do this ad nauseum. Now they walked out because they're gonna bring it to a vote. And again, power plays on both sides, and they're going to use this. They're using this for the midterm elections, people.
Of course they are.
They're trying to say, you know, just like the Hawaii, we can change that now. We could paraphrase. Not all women should be believed and all men are liars. We can paraphrase this for her, because what she was saying is all the voters should believe the Democrats and all Republicans are liars.
Yep.
So don't elect them. That's what they're saying. And that's not true. There are good and bad in both parties. And the reality is this is a national disgrace. It's a national disgrace.
And Lindsey Graham said that in his speech that I cut off there.
And I don't care what they want to say about due process and this stuff. There's been too much process right now, and it's being done clearly for political reasons. The Me Too movement, the Me 3 movement, or the Me 4 movement doesn't belong in that hearing room, and that's what they're doing. They're pandering to their demographics.
And the Democrats did that. I mean, when you look at the fact that Dianne Feinstein brought in thousands of letters, not from individual women, but from organizations, thousands of letters from organizations saying you got to believe her. Now, as you said, there was no true information that could generate even a search warrant, which is kind of sad. It's kind of sad.
Well, if you got drunk in high school and said that the moon was made of green cheese and they questioned you 25 years later, you'd probably say, the devil made me do it.
Because I'm evil. I'm evil. You're evil. Remember that?
Well, we got a lot of stuff we didn't cover, but I think this had to be said because, you know, politics and the Supreme Court should not mix.
Politics. Poly meaning many, ticks meaning bloodsuckers. That's the way it is. Hey, thanks for watching. Have a great weekend and stay angry, everyone.
That's right. Term limits for everybody. And if they don't, vote them out.